So if you're someone trying to get into streaming, one of the biggest barriers to entry is the cost, whether that be buying the PC, console, or services like Streamlabs Premium. There are a ton of ways that you can spend way too much money on things you may not really need to get a good quality stream. So today we're going to be taking a look at one of the more budget offerings on the market when it comes to capture cards. The model we're going to be looking at today is the EVGA XR1 Lite. This is something that I've purchased for personal use and have had it for about a week, so I thought I should make a video talking about this capture card to give you guys an idea if you should buy it or not. So first off, let's talk about pricing, since this is going to be the main thing that draws people into buying one of these capture cards. The capture card can typically be found on Amazon for around $50 or less, making it much cheaper than its Elgato counterparts, which normally go for close to $150. And this card was coming from a brand that I've only had good experiences with. I've bought a lot of EVGA's other computer hardware in the past, and I've never really had a problem with their products, so it made buying this capture card pretty enticing. Setting up the capture card was fairly easy. It comes with one HDMI cord and a USB-C to USB-A cord. You just plug the HDMI cords from the source to the card and then from the card to your display. Then just plug in your USB cord coming from the capture card into your streaming computer and set it up in OBS. All you have left to do after that is just to download some software from the EVGA website to disable the HDCP filter and do some software updates, and the thing should work fine out of the box. Now let's get into the specs of this capture card. The EVGA XR1 Lite sends out video at a 1080p 60 FPS and at an image quality that should be great for streaming, and the maximum supported pass-through resolution and refresh rate is 4K 60Hz. Considering the price of the capture card and those two specs being boasted all over the Amazon page, I ended up buying this thing quickly because it sounded like just what I wanted. I don't have a 4K 60Hz monitor, so I thought I should be in the clear for supported monitors, and I don't plan on streaming at a higher quality than 1080p, so I was fine with that as well. But this brings us to our first sort of issue that I had with this capture card. The main monitor that I use is a 1440p 144Hz monitor, and I absolutely love it. But when I plugged in the capture card and got everything set up, it was forcing my monitor to display at 1080p 60Hz, which I thought was kind of weird considering that on the box the capture card was saying that it could pass through a signal of up to 4K 60Hz, which is the maximum supported bitrate of the HDMI 2.0 standard. And I know for certain 1440p 144Hz is within the HDMI 2.0 standard. At that point I was thinking it might be a driver issue or something, so I tried to update everything and mess around with some graphics settings to no avail. After that I did a bit of googling and found out that most capture cards only pass through a 60Hz refresh rate, and I came to terms with that. I figured that it just has something to do with how the hardware is recording frames, but I was still just trying to get my monitor to display at its native resolution. And only after looking at the very bottom of the product page on the EVGA website did it list all the supported resolutions for pass-through, and of course 1440p was not supported. Now this is kind of off-putting to me for several reasons. One, it looks like I'm not going to be able to play my games and stream at my monitor's native resolution, which is the second most popular gaming monitor resolution in the world. Two, if you can support 4K, there's no reason why you can't support 1440p. I get that the capture card has to downscale from 1440p to 1080p, which is kind of a pain, but you already have to do that when you're recording from a 4K resolution. So there doesn't seem to be a lack of hardware capability there, and in all honesty, I think they could just push out a firmware update to support more resolutions in general. And third, the diagram was nowhere to be seen on the Amazon listing page. Since all it is stated about it on the Amazon page is that it supports up to a 4K 60Hz pass-through, people are going to assume it's going to be compatible with resolutions and refresh rates that it's not. And the fact that they kind of hide this information at the very bottom of the page makes me think that they know that saying it supports up to a 4K 60Hz pass-through is kind of deceptive, because we aren't given any specificities of what the up to part of that statement includes. Now normally I wouldn't recommend buying a product with as long of a list of grievances as the XR1 Lite has given me, but there are still a good number of upsides to the product. Like I said before, the pricing of the product is super competitive and completely undercuts anything Elgato sells. It's fairly well built, and while it may not be plug and play, it's still really easy to use and set up. Also, if you're gaming on a console or you game at 1080p or 4K, then this capture card should be fine. If I had to give the EVGA XR1 Lite a rating out of 10, it would be a 6.5, because overall I think the capture card is decent for the $50 to $60 you might spend on it. It does what it needs to do with no extra bells and whistles. However, I still am disappointed about the fact that it doesn't really support a whole lot of resolutions, and would absolutely love to see a firmware update to help support some more resolutions. Also, EVGA is seemingly not making it easy for people to see the spec list and supported resolutions somewhat intentionally. This is a big red flag to me on any product, and they need to add this to every listing of the XR1 Lite and in a place to where a potential buyer can easily see it. If you guys want to check out the EVGA XR1 Lite, it's going to be linked in the description below. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, make sure to leave a like on the video, and if you want to see more content like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comment section below, or just join my channel Discord where we can kind of discuss these sort of things. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Peace out.